Chapter 41, Space Department Ability. No, it's a force of nature. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, that without any accident, those spears condensed from gold elements directly penetrated the flame armor of the giant red tiger and poured into its body. Ho ho ho. The original haughty tiger face was directly stimulated by the sharp pain of the spear entering the body. It was unbearable, and he couldn't help roaring in pain, but Bai Xian was slightly taken aback when he saw this. To be honest, he didn't expect that the opponent didn't move at all, just used flames to condense a layer of armor around the body, and then gave up dodging. The gold element is already sharp, not to mention that Bai Xian also has a layer of electric arc on the outside. Piercing penetration has increased by more than one level. It is still alive. It is all lucky those gold element spears did not penetrate its most critical parts. At this time, the red giant tiger looked at Bai Xian with no arrogance as before, but it was still tyrannical and angry, and the killing intent in his emotions had also increased a lot. According to common sense, beasts should have an almost instinctive intuition about danger. So why didn't you dodge just now? Is this instinct ineffective against elemental attacks? Or are you too confident in yourself? Under Su Yu's sluggish eyes, Bai Xian walked in front of the red giant tiger without any haste, completely ignoring the fury in its animal pupils. Roar, that without the slightest hesitation, the giant red tiger opened its mouth wide, intending to bite Bai Xian's body, but at this moment a mysterious force acted on the giant red tiger's body, and the original movement stopped instantly. Bai Xian wasn't surprised by this at all, and still looked at the giant red tiger's body curiously, stroked his hair from time to time, and looked at the fire lotus on his forehead. The flame power in the body is not weak, it is much stronger than Su Yu. Is the fire lotus on the forehead a rune condensed from the flame power in the body? Or does it have some kind of ability? The muscles are in good condition. You should have a good physique before the mutation. However, a tiger who has awakened the flame ability should have a high resistance to flames. Does it take longer than normal meat to cook? That while looking at it, this idea suddenly popped up in Bai Xian's mind. Well, it is very interesting to study, go back and let them try it. After his curiosity was almost exhausted, Bai Xian didn't keep the giant red tiger waiting too long, and put his hands on its neck. Crack, with a crisp sound, the red giant tiger lost its vitality. I'm sorry, because I'm too capable, I don't know how to deal with you for a while. After thinking about it, this seems to be the best. Bai Xian patted the head of the giant red tiger, and then made a cut shape with his right hand, with dots of golden light emerging from it. A golden light flashed in the air. Bai Xian chopped off the two legs of the giant red tiger, the ring in his hand emitted a faint silver light, and then the corpse of the giant red tiger and the two legs in Bai Xian's hands disappeared in the air. In the air. Space ring. Su Yu, who had regained her sobriety due to the death of the giant red tiger, covered her mouth and said incredulously when she saw this scene. Has the country already researched a space ring? Was it done by a person who has awakened the ability of the space system? But why didn't I? It seemed that she wasn't the only one. Chen Chang, Yishuru and even Huyu didn't see anything similar in their hands. Is it just researched? It was because of this mission that Bai Xian was given it. Su Yu thought so, but was soon slapped in the face by Bai Xian's words. No, I did it myself. Bai Xian doesn't know if there is a space-type supernatural being in the country, and Bai Xian doesn't know if the other party can create a storage thing like a space ring. His was specially made last night, in order to store the corpses of these mutated creatures, as well as store some other harvests in the nature reserve. As for how to do it. Space is also part of nature. Well, maybe because he has read too many novels, he has not included these two abilities in nature before, adhering to the concept that space is king and time is respect. Although the space ring is the effective space ability, it is not used with natural authority, but the ability to write sharing eyes with a kaleidoscope, left eye, oracle, that what I say is what God says, and what I say is what God says. God said, let there be light. Then, there was light. God said, let there be a sky between the waters, and divide the water into upper and lower. So he created the sky and separated the upper and lower waters. Within your tolerance, every word you say will come true. With the blessing of the oracle, he easily created something like a space ring. As for the cost, he didn't feel it at all, as if even if he didn't use this ability, he could still create something like a space ring. Naturally, there is no price, but thinking about his oracle ability is also the reason for natural authority, so it is not wrong to convert it into the power of nature. Su Yu's face was full of confusion, and she asked weakly, "Are you a superhuman from the space system?" Before Bai Xian could answer, she said again, "That's not right, what you just used is obviously the ability of the gold element." "Wait, are you a dual ability user?" But she has never heard of someone awakening dual abilities. "Who knows?" Bai Xian smiled, then frowned, turned around and whipped his legs. Amidst the sudden roar, the violent air flow spread to the surroundings. Boom! With a loud noise, countless blood bloomed from the air, and a figure could be vaguely seen being kicked out. The violent force even made its body sag, and the kicked body directly hit the big tree behind its superior. Crack! The terrifying force didn't even withstand the big tree, and it was broken by the middle. At this time, the other party finally exhausted the remaining strength in his body and fell heavily on the ground. At this time, its entire body was covered in blood, and it was difficult to see what kind of creature it was. The scene suddenly quieted down, so you managed to regain consciousness from the red giant tiger, and at this moment she seemed a little dazed again. Just now, what happened? It seems that something was kicked away by Bai Xian. No, it wasn't kicked flying, but was kicked and exploded. Even the big tree couldn't bear the terrifying force and broke apart. Therefore, Bai Xian is not only a dual ability person of gold element and space system, but also extremely terrifying in terms of physique. It's normal to think about it, after all, who is a mage who doesn't have an excellent body and combat experience? Melee mage. Isn't it just kicking a mutated creature to death? Isn't it just the tree being cut off in the middle? Nothing the hell. This is not the power that humans should have at all. Even if aura can improve human physique, when the ability becomes stronger, it will also drive the strengthening of the body, but there is a limit to this. How long has it been since the spirit revived now, let alone a mage who has awakened elemental abilities? Is it impossible for those who have awakened physical abilities to achieve this level? End of this chapter. Chapter 42 Mutant Bird Flock, Blooming Thunder-Colored Lotus. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is not a thin tree, but a thick tree. It will take some time for you to take an axe or a logging tool. How could it be knocked down by something that was kicked away? How much strength does that have to be? Not to mention the mage who awakened the power of the element system, even the one who awakened the power of the beast system can't do much, right? In addition to gold elements and space, you don't have physical abilities, do you? So it's not a dual-line ability but a three-line ability. This is definitely a hang-up, right? Bai Xian was also a little surprised by this. He didn't expect that one of his whip legs would kick that mutant creature to pieces. Is he too powerful? Or is this mutated creature's defense ability too weak? Just now, he felt an astonishing amount of malice coming from not far away, and he kicked it subconsciously without much reaction, but he didn't expect to blow it up. Slightly sighed, according to the previous thinking, it should try not to damage the body, and cut some parts back to make dishes. It can only be said that the plan cannot keep up with the changes. Walking forward, looking at the corpse on the ground that was covered in blood and almost exploded, Bai Xian frowned. It was indeed a little disgusting, but it was still within the range of tolerance. Although the corpse exploded, it was vaguely discernible that it was a bird, just don't know which one. But when it comes to birds, they seldom come and go alone. As if they sensed something, Bai Xian turned his head to look to the other side, and murmured. Coming. Chirp. Tweet. Tweet chirp chirp. A large number of birds chirping resounded in the air, and in Bai Xian's eyes, countless flying birds with a faint silver light came from a distance. They either stayed in the air, or perched on the branches, and dozens of them gathered in a blink of an eye. Its body shape is similar to that of a crow, and its body color tends to be brown, but the edges of its wings emit silvery light under the sunlight, giving it an extremely sharp feeling. Has a flock of birds mutated? That's right, almost 70% of the human race has awakened abilities, and it's normal for a mutant population to appear. Bai Xian thought about it and nodded, and then looked at the wings of the group of mutated birds with great interest. They were similar to steel, but the sharp feeling was not diminished in half, and the flying speed was also extremely fast. Of course, these are not the most important things. I don't know if it's because Bai Xian killed their companions, but they all have obvious malice towards Bai Xian, just wanting to kill him, and with time, this killing intent is still growing. I hope it is because I killed your companion that you are so hostile to me. If it is for other reasons. That having said that, Bai Xian didn't continue talking. If there is no reason for their hostility towards Bai Xian, it would be a bit scary. At this speed, it seems good to practice melee combat. There was a little expectation in Bai Xian's eyes, obviously relying on natural authority. He could kill these mutated birds easily and freely, but for some reason he seemed to like that kind of close combat. The feeling of condensing gold elements to kill the giant red tiger is completely different from the feeling of whipping and kicking mutant birds. The former has no interest at all, while the latter always has a sense of enjoyment. Does every mage have a melee heart? Chirp. Those mutated birds didn't know what Bai Xian was thinking, and with a piercing cry, the birds in the sky flew towards Bai Xian first, and its actions were like a fuse, and other mutated birds followed suit one after another. Up, like crazy. Countless silver lights flashed through the air, with terrifying sharp silver wings piercing the air, and the will to split Bai Xian in two. The high-pitched chirping is annoying. At this time, it really should use this kind of power. There was expectation in Bai Xian's eyes. His hands were clenched tightly, and a pale white halo appeared on his hands, tightly wrapping his fists. Boom! Amidst the violent roar, the air seemed to vibrate, and the flying birds in the sky seemed to have been pressed to the pause button. After a momentary pause, the bodies of the flying birds fell from the air one after another. In addition, although some still flew towards Bai Xian, but the speed and explosive power were far inferior to before. Boom! Crack! That the moment Bai Xuan's fist touched the mutated bird, the sound of bones cracking resounded in the air, and the violent force directly acted on its body, and then it seemed that it could not bear this force, and its fragile body it flew out in an instant, and then turned into a cloud of blood mist in the air. Sure enough, it is still impossible to reproduce the effect of Papa Whitebeard's Xinjian fruit in the anime. It's not enough to rely on the strength of the vibration alone. The kind of power that seems to shatter the space into a spider's web cannot be achieved by simple vibrations. Bai Xian shook his head, and then the white halo in his hand dissipated. Crack! Stretching out his right hand, blue electric arcs condensed in Bai Xian's hand, and in an instant a blue lotus flower made of thunder and containing terrifying power emerged in his hand. Close combat, next time. When the time comes, take a blunt instrument like a mace or a baseball bat. I feel that it will be more appropriate to match the power of the vibration. Let me say goodbye to you this time. Bai Xian murmured, and the blue lotus flower that shone with lightning flew out of his hand, and slowly flew towards the mutated birds that landed on the ground. Boom! Chirp! Choo choo choo! Choo choo choo! Accompanied by a roar, the sky full of thunder light bloomed in Bai Xian, countless electric arcs strung together in the air like silver snakes, and the air was also full of the wails of those mutated birds, but not for a moment. The screaming stopped abruptly. By the time the lightning dissipated, the mutated birds on the ground had already turned into pitch-black cokes. Gone. Bai Xian looked at this scene indifferently without the slightest reaction. After saying a word, Suyu came to her senses and quickly followed. She didn't even know how many times she had been sluggish today. Too exaggerated, really too exaggerated. After the gold element, space ability and strong physique, Bai Xian used such a terrifying thunder again. This is already 4 abilities, and each ability is so powerful. How can you embarrass her with a single ability of ice element? Obviously this time the task was carried out by 2 people, so why did she seem to be just playing tricks? But think about the red giant tiger before, and think about the mutated birds just now. Well, she'd better be a walk-on. End of this chapter. Chapter 43: The Future of Humans and Mutant Creatures, the Desire to Become Stronger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Don't these corpses need to be picked up? Suyu looked at the corpse of the mutated bird on the ground, and asked curiously. It's all chopped into coke. there's no need to pick it up. Bai Xian shook his head. Anyway, these mutated birds have little meat, so they may not be delicious. Oh. Tzu nodded, and then the two of them wandered around the nature reserve again, meeting some mutant beasts from time to time, although they were not full of malice towards them like the red giant tiger and mutant birds that Bai Xian encountered before, but they will also attack them. I don't know if they regard Bai Xian and Suyu as enemies who broke into their territory. As a result, there is no need to talk about it. There are many corpses of mutated creatures in Baishuan's interspatial ring. This time it's not like using the power of thunder to destroy their bodies before. Most of them rely on gravity or some force to penetrate their important parts, trying not to damage their flesh. If the meat of these mutated creatures really has the effect of increasing their cultivation speed and strengthening their physique, then their fate is hard to say. Regardless of whether they have acquired malice towards humans or not, humans may take the initiative to attack. Now is the initial stage of spiritual recovery, and many things in the past will gradually change until human beings truly adapt to this era. Before that, it was impossible for human beings and these mutated creatures to coexist peacefully. It is impossible for human beings to come up with laws to protect mutated creatures, and it is impossible for mutated creatures to guarantee the safety of human life. Both sides are extremely threatening stuff. As for communication, with the deepening of spiritual energy recovery, it may be possible for those mutated creatures to possess intelligence not inferior to that of humans, but before that, there is no possibility, and this period of time is destined to be extremely long. Time passed slowly, and before you knew it, it was evening. Bai Xian and Suyu did not continue to stay in the nature reserve, and walked out of it. There was a special place for them to rest nearby. Exploring the nature reserve is not something that will happen overnight. Although the task does not stipulate how long they will patrol, they should stay here until they are notified by their superiors. Nothing happened anyway. What's more, the facilities here are all there should be. Although the accommodation conditions are not as luxurious as the villas, the decoration is also extremely superior. Don't worry about the food, there are dedicated staff to provide it, and for Bai Xian, living in the nature reserve is not bad. For him who can use the gravity ability, he no longer needs to rely on those facilities for exercise. What's more, isn't fighting mutant creatures more interesting than pure exercise? There is nothing dissatisfied with Su Yu's words. In terms of safety, with Bai Xian around, she will not be afraid, and after witnessing Baishuan's terrifying strength, she also more or less realized that the times are really changing. Just like the giant red tiger I met at the beginning, if Bai Xian wasn't there, she would definitely die. The mutated birds in the back, the speed is probably not worse than the bullets, right? Now is the early stage of spiritual recovery. Will there be mutant creatures who are not afraid of guns or even heavy firepower? Is it even possible to have mutated creatures that are not afraid of nuclear bombs? Even if it wasn't, it would be scary. How dangerous it would be if they appeared in human cities. She sincerely gave birth to the psychology of wanting to become stronger, as well as a sense of urgency. As for the animals they hunted in the morning are all animals in the nature reserve. What does that have to do with her? Who cares about this at a time like this? You treat it as a protected animal, but it will not show mercy to you. Bai Xian didn't know Su Yu's thoughts, and her thoughts had nothing to do with him. After eating the food delivered, Bai Xian returned to his room and began to exercise. Su Yu was full of admiration for Bai Xian's self-discipline, talented and powerful, with the four abilities of thunder, gold element, space and physique, but also has such a strong willpower. Typically people who are more talented than you work harder than you. Bai Xian's ability to possess such great strength probably has something to do with his training. Su Yu shook her head. If it weren't for today's investigation, she would never have imagined that there are already human beings so powerful. Aside from the mutated creatures they encountered before, they also encountered a 5-meter-tall giant bear with a thick body, as if covered with a layer of rock armor. When walking, they felt that the ground was shaking, but such a powerful mutant creature was easily pierced by Bai Xian's sharp thorns condensed with gold elements. Then the bear's paw and 2 bears' legs were chopped off. Obviously the bear's defense is very thick, and the ice thorns she condensed with ice elements can't penetrate it no matter what. But Bai Xian is very easy. Are gold elementals sharper than ice elementals? Maybe, but other than that, Baishuan's strength is definitely inseparable. In the hands of others, she has never seen such a powerful gold element. In the next few days, Bai Xian and Su Yu fulfilled their 9-to-5 duty. entered the nature reserve at and to investigate the distribution of mutated creatures, and found some lucky mutated creatures to collect their bodies. After a long time, some mutated creatures in the nature reserve would run away whenever they saw Bai Xian and Su Yu, and some even remembered their smells, and fled quickly as soon as they approached, which brought serious problems to their investigation work. Troubled, but there is no way to do this kind of thing, presumably the superior can understand, but for the smell of these mutated creatures, Bai Xian and Su Yu had to give it a thumbs up. The flesh is firm but soft, and there is a strong aroma in the mouth, as if awakening the body's instinctive needs and desires. Once you enter, you can't stop. In addition, Bai Xuan's physique is relatively special, so the gains from the previous few times disappeared completely within 2 nights. Unfortunately, they had to add another wave. The effect is also obvious. Although Bai Xian doesn't feel anything, Su Yu's strength will increase a lot after eating it every time. It is estimated that after they upload this information, although the nature reserve is still called a nature reserve, the meaning will definitely be different. Who can refuse the food that is delicious and can improve the running ability? After eating the dishes made by the mutated creatures at night, Bai Xian didn't start exercising immediately, but sat on the sofa with his eyes closed, and a mysterious and complicated text appeared in his mind, the gravity version of the star attraction Dafa from Swordsman. However, discontent. Why is it exactly the same as the power-absorbing method found in the search? Bai Xian rubbed his head helplessly. Could it be that the world is different? In their world the martial arts that seem to be made up and are useless in the world of martial arts are real martial arts cheats. End of this chapter. Chapter 44. What does youth look like for the group owner who was banned from the chat group again? You are listening at novelfull.audio. But Yuma's version of Swordsman's Dafa of attracting stars is different from others, so why is the content the same? Or does the difference in settings not affect the content inside? He opened his eyes and shook his head. In fact, he was just curious. It doesn't matter what the principle of this star-attracting method is. After all, gravity is also a part of nature, and if he wants to speed up the absorption of spiritual energy, he can also infuse spiritual energy into his body by himself, although there may be some differences, but generally not bad. But it doesn't make sense. He's getting stronger fast enough. Things like cultivation cheats might slow down his cultivation speed, just like Shah Orange after the Cayman Rider became a god, does. He need a transformation device. The shapeshifter will only limit his strength. Personally, he actually wants to create a universal cultivation method that can increase the speed of cultivation compared to himself. After all, because of natural authority, when humans and even mutant creatures become stronger, they will become stronger at a certain ratio, which is equivalent to the speed at which they become stronger than all creatures on the entire Earth. That being the case, there is no need for him to hide, but it really doesn't work. Let's wait until the chat group has a new function, and these cheats can be optimized into a version that can be practiced in each world. Dongfang Booby, is the star-attracting method of letting me do it useful? In the chat group, Dongfang Bai asked curiously. After all, the world is different, and she is very curious whether the internal strength cultivation methods in her own world can work in Bai Xuan's world. There is also that kind of energy called spiritual energy, which seems to be the purest source in the world, similar to internal force, but it is like its higher-level body, just a spiritual energy bead, which can make one's own cultivation realm. It has been raised by more than one level, and it directly enters the innate late stage. At this level, apart from her master, no one should be able to defeat her, right? Even Feng Qingyang from the Huashan faction doesn't have this ability. He was on par with him before he broke through, and he is even less qualified after breaking through. Ling Huchong. If there were no chat groups, would I fall in love with him? Dongfang Bai's eyes are a bit complicated, but he can also understand why his future self will fall in love with him, but it's impossible now. She is not a woman who will be dazzled by love. How could she fall into it after reading the copy of the memory and knowing her not-so-good future? What's more, is Ling Huchong really worthy of his liking? I am afraid that the other party will never forget his little junior sister in his heart, child of nature. It's useless, and what's interesting is that its content is exactly the same as what was searched in the browser. Son of nature, it's probably just a setting change. Ordinary group leader, wow, is it such a scam? Ordinary group leader, doesn't that mean that in the future, if any cheats are passed on, you won't be able to practice, that there are a few martial arts cheat books, and she really wants to have a good system to practice in the future, especially the Taijiquan handed down by Zhang Sanfeng. The world is different, maybe it can deduce some supreme way, but now it seems that it is not enough. Son of Nature, isn't there still a chat group? Maybe it can be done when it opens up new abilities in the future. Ordinary group leader, chat group, ordinary group owner, if you don't tell me, I'll use it as a chat tool. Besides sign-in and lottery, it has new functions. Ordinary group owner, this spam chat group. Ding, an unknown error has been detected, and the chat group owner has been banned for 3 to 10 minutes. Boil Dagu into soup. Boil Dagu into soup, is this the second time? Worst elf, the group leader should be the first person to be banned from the chat group, right? Son of Nature, more than that, she is probably the first group leader to be banned from the chat group. The richest man in the lighthouse, the owner of the group is inferior. Glory of the northern god, so you are brave. The richest man in the lighthouse, just kidding, I'm super brave. The glory of the northern god, please start your show. JPG. The richest man in the lighthouse. The richest man in the lighthouse, the original sentence is not this at all, shouldn't it be to make me healthy? The richest man in the lighthouse, you damn Shiba Inu are playing dirty with me. The glory of the northern god, Shiba Inu's evil smile. JPG. The glory of the northern gods, Shiba Inu despises eyes. JPG. The glory of the northern god, I am Thor, the god of thunder. The glory of the northern god, the richest man in the lighthouse, you damn Shiba Inu, wait until I make the anti-Thor armor. I must let you kneel down and call dad, the most evil elf, do you want to be Hong Qigong? Dongfang Booby, he should be glad that Thor's father is a human being, otherwise he just wants to be a dog. Uchiha Dance King, I just don't know whose dog he wants to be. Be my son, ku la la la, of course it's the old man's dog. Son of Nature. Son of Nature, in the past few days when I was not in the chat group, what did Su Yunqing teach you? Why did he see memes that are only available in modern times, even Jiegu? What the hell did this woman do to her chat group? The glory of the northern gods, Shiba Inu thinks. JPG. The glory of the gods of the north, many and many. The richest man in the lighthouse, but many of them don't understand. The richest man in the lighthouse, sometimes she gets mad at me and asks me to go climbing. The richest man in the lighthouse, what does this mean? Son of Nature, about you to climb a mountain. Bai Xian's eyelids twitched slightly, if nothing else happened, she really wanted to eat, but asking Iron Man to climb a mountain, how dare you? Boil Dagu into soup, she sometimes talks about Yi Qinghui, what is this? Worst elf, it seems that Grandpa's youth has come back. Dad posted a video of fighting Kaido before. Whenever the special effects of the shaking fruit appear, the group owner will post this. Worst elf, is her youth daddy? The worst elf, you and the group owner come from the same country in the same world, what does youth look like in your world? Seeing Tokisaki Kurumi's words, Bai Xian couldn't help being a little silent, memories popped up in my mind, child of nature, youth. Son of Nature, probably the yellow-haired boy who shouted to become Hokage, the man who wore a straw hat and shouted that I was going to be the One Piece, the magic light stick that turned into powder in the air, the pink hat that fluttered in the wind, and the man who fell to the ground. Tennis. Child of Nature, it was a carefree time with almost no worries. In memory, their youth is very long, extremely long, and there are countless animations supporting them to span year after year, but it seems to be very short. Before they have time to look back, they have grown up before they know it. The anime that belonged to them also came to an end without knowing it. End of this chapter. Chapter 45. Dagu is my light, don't you agree with Hei Jue's determination to save his mothe? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Therefore, it is really lucky for him to be able to join this chat group. It's not that the chat group will have much influence and benefit on his strength and destiny, but he's just happy to meet them and chat with them. Of course, this is his idea. After all, he is not lacking in strength. If he is the leader of the group, he may have more ideas. That's it. Meow, why does it feel like the topic has become heavy? Meow. Boil Dagu into soup, it is indeed very heavy, but there is also some joy. Boil Dagu into soup. Creating our works in another world is liked and loved by many people, and even has influence on them in various aspects. For me, this is more important than simply knowing that I am a character in the work. Much happier. Boil Dagu into soup. People in that world have a good sense of this work in me. Will they do bad things because of my work? Dagu was a little nervous when he asked this question. In the past, he would naturally care that he was just a character in a work, but knowing that the work he was in was loved by countless people in a certain world, and after being recognized by them, this kind of thinking silently diminished and then changed to another emotion, some excitement, some pride, and some fear. He hopes that what he brings to others is light and hope, but the works in his world are full of all kinds of darkness of human nature. He hopes that people who watch this work in another world will gain light from it, believe in hope and believe in justice. Son of nature, have you thought about this kind of problem? It should be said that it is you, Dagu. Son of nature, don't worry, many people in my world are influenced by you, believe in the existence of light, and think that one day they can turn into light and become Ultraman to defeat evil. Ordinary group leader, I'm back again. Ordinary group leader, looking at the chat history, I'm talking about youth. Ordinary group leader, Dagu is the light in my heart. Ordinary group leader, I don't know what the people who said that Ultraman is violent are thinking, they don't read the truth in it at all. Uchiha Dance Lord, violence. He admitted that Ultraman and monsters are very strong, but just a few moves back and forth, you tell me violence. Then what is he killing like a cloud and flowing water in the face of, enemy troops in the ninja world at the end? Ordinary group owner, because most of Ultraman was watched when I was a child, so be stricter. Ordinary group leader, but normal people shouldn't have any influence. Ordinary group leader, it is estimated that their children are different. Bai Xian didn't know how to comment on this. Not only Ultraman, but even Pleasant Goat and Bear Haunted had never escaped. An excellent anime like Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit was also reported. I have traveled to this world for so many years and I don't know if there has been any change. Son of nature, let's not talk about this. What is the effect of my previous spiritual energy beads? Ordinary group owner. The effect is very strong. Dongfang invincible, the realm has broken through 2 layers in a row. Be my son, I feel a lot lighter. Ku la la la. Uchiha Dance King, the soul is a little tighter, but because it doesn't have a body, the absorption speed is too slow. Uchiha Dance King, in addition, you don't have the ability to think in the underworld, so you can only absorb it instinctively. Uchiha Dance King, otherwise use reincarnation eyes. Forget it, let's talk about it after I am resurrected in the future. Golden Flash, are you sure you can be resurrected in the future? The corner of Namikaze Minato's mouth twitched slightly. Although he already knew the memory copy, he knew that Uchiha Madara was for peace, but he did not approve of the method of indulging in dreams, and naturally it was impossible to take the initiative to let Uchiha Madara resurrect. Uchiha Dance King, do you think your wisdom can be compared to Hei Jue? Uchiha Dance King, the future is never static, and I also recognize Kuroju's determination to revive Atsuki Kagaya Heim. Uchiha Dance King, based on you, I don't think you can outsmart him. Uchiha Dance King, now you should deal with Kyubi, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo well. As the 4th generation of Hokage, you can't control the entire Konoha. In terms of single rights, you are the worst one in the history of Hokage. Golden Flash, it's a merciless criticism, but it's irrefutable. Although he is currently the 4th Hokage, the control of Umbu is still in the hands of the 3rd generation, let alone Genbu, Konoha's family. Inakacho will obey his orders on the surface, but if it involves between him and the 3rd generation, they will choose to be neutral. Hinata's thoughts were not on him either. Among the Konoha family, the one with the best relationship with him and even the most likely to be his help is the Uchiha family. That's how fate plays tricks on people. The richest man in the lighthouse, the effect of that spiritual energy bead is really strong. The richest man in the lighthouse, I just ate one and haven't slept for 3 nights. The richest man in the lighthouse, they can't hold on at all. What did I just say? Ding, the group member Beacon's richest man withdrew a statement. The richest man in the lighthouse, I am addicted to blacksmithing and cannot extricate myself. If it is not a material problem, I will directly create a perfect pair of steel armor. Son of nature, you don't think we didn't see anything because you withdrew it? Give them back, you are good at playing. The richest man in the lighthouse, people are hard to tear down, there is no way around it. The richest man in the lighthouse, little Pepper, and I haven't started yet, and your beads are too effective, so I can't help it. Ordinary group leader, then why don't you confess to Pepper, the richest man in the lighthouse, this. The worst elf, isn't it shy, the richest man in the lighthouse, shy. How can I be shy as an imposing iron man, the richest man in the lighthouse, it's just that the timing is wrong. When the timing is right, don't confess, I'll just do it. Ordinary group leader, Hei Tsk. The glory of the northern gods, Shiba Inu refused. JPG. The glory of the northern gods, it is forbidden to spread dog food. Bai Xian didn't participate in the subsequent chat, just looked at the chat content in the group and smiled from time to time. This feeling is great for him. I took a look at my points, not too many, only in the early, just enough for 2 lucky draws. Part of it was accumulated by signing in, and the other part was obtained by recycling the corpses of mutated creatures and spiritual energy beads. In the recovery system of the chat group, the spiritual energy beads and the corpses of mutated creatures are of certain value. End of this chapter. Chapter 46, The Random Lottery, the Training Method of Armed Sex and Domineering. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The current price of spiritual energy beads is, points to recycle 1, which is not too much, but if Bai Xian spares no effort to condense, he can still condense a lot. After all, it is not too difficult for him, but it is not necessary. It's not just that too much condensation may affect the aura of the entire area of Hangcheng, but also that he doesn't have anything in particular in the current chat group member world, and the lottery is more of a kind for him. Pleasure, if you are interested, you can smoke it once, if you are not interested, you can put it there, just like buying a lottery ticket. On a whim, I spend 2 yuan to get a random number, and I usually don't go in when I pass by. Today, I don't know if it's been too long since the Uchiha Obito template, but Bai Xian suddenly had the idea of wanting to draw a lottery, and he happened to have some points. So let's do it once. Chat group, draw once. Ding, points will be automatically deducted from the group members, Son of Nature. Ding, start the lottery draw. Bai Xian didn't make him wait for a long time, only 3 seconds passed, and the voice of the chat group came from Bai Xian's ear. Ding, congratulations to the members of the group, the Son of Nature, who has acquired the ability of Pirate World's Armed Color Domineering. After fusion, he can automatically obtain the initial level of Armed Color Domineering. Ding, is it fused? Is the Armed Color Domineering? It seems to be okay, although it is not as good as those precious items, such as the Eyes of Reincarnation, the Fruit of the Sacred Tree, the Reincarnation Eye, the Crystal of the Spirit, the Giant Stone Statue, etc. It is much better than the Steel Pipe of Uchiha Madara, the Giant Doll with White Beard, and so on. As for this ability, it does not conflict with Baishuan's natural authority. It can not only enhance defense, but also turn it into an attack method, and it can become stronger with physical fitness. If I don't choose fusion, can you give me a training method of armed domineering? A training method suitable for my world? Ding, after the fusion, the group members will still get the complete armed domineering cultivation method. The chat group mechanically replied to Bai Xian, and the content made Bai Xian nod in satisfaction. Although it is only a means to enhance combat ability rather than a method to improve cultivation, it is also very good. Integrate. As a soft energy flowed through Baishuan's limbs, Baishuan's mind also automatically emerged the cultivation method of armed color domineering, with his right hand slightly clenched, an energy that is different from but very similar to aura flows in his arm, and then the entire right arm is covered with a hard purple-black shell, although it is different from the mainstream black. The color of the armed color itself varies from person to person, and he doesn't care. There was a muffled sound. When he tapped the right arm covered in the armor color, but in terms of feeling alone, the defense should be pretty good. After all, Baishuan's own physique is extremely strong. Although the armed domineering is only at the initial stage, it is still an increase on the original basis. If the physique is much weaker than Bai Xian, even if the armed domineering level is higher than his, it will not be seen. To be able to suppress him, after a little bit of proficiency, Bai Xian seemed to have gotten a new toy, and he actually had the urge to go out and try it out. Putting on the space ring that he had taken off before, Bai Xian went out and walked towards the nature reserve. Because it wasn't too late, Su herself was also exercising to speed up the spiritual energy provided to the flesh of the mutated creature in her body. When she heard Bai Xian's door opening, she went over to take a look, and then found that Bai Xian was walking towards the nature reserve. This action made her confused. What's the situation? Didn't you have enough for dinner? But there should still be corpses of ferocious beasts. It's really impossible to eat those that are going to be handed over to the superiors and catch them tomorrow. Why did you go out suddenly? Oh yes, the meat that was handed over to the superiors was from places where the quality of the meat was average, and the taste was definitely not that good. Bai Xian, Su, who thought she understood Bai Xian's meaning, hurriedly shouted at Bai Xian's back. What happened? Hearing Su Yu's voice, Bai Xian turned around and asked. See if there is any tiger that is still hunting. I think its legs are delicious. If tigers don't have them, wolves are fine too. I haven't eaten wolf meat yet, so I should be able to see them hunting at night. If it doesn't work, you can figure it out. I'll eat anything. The corners of Baishuan's mouth twitched slightly. In your eyes, am I hungry when I go to the nature reserve? I just want to get acquainted with the newly mastered power. Although a few mutated creatures may be lost in the process, I will also collect their corpses, and I may eat some when I come back, but my purpose is not to eat. This is just the result. I'm going to prepare side dishes and seasonings. Come back soon. Before Bai Xian could speak, Su naturally went to the kitchen to prepare things. I see. Bai Xian took a deep breath, said helplessly, and then stepped into the nature reserve. Su, who was preparing something on the other side, seemed to have suddenly remembered something, pointed her chin with her index finger, and said with some doubts. Why do I seem to see that Bai Xian's right arm is black? Or is it purple-black? Is it too late for me to see clearly? I guess so. How could a human's arm be purple and black? It's like being poisoned. Su didn't pay much attention to this issue, and she didn't think about the problem of Bai Xian being poisoned at all. After getting along with her these days, she knew the strength of Bai Xian thoroughly, and it was impossible for her to be poisoned by Bai Xian. At the same time, in the nature reserve. Boom! Accompanied by a loud noise, a figure flew upside down and fell heavily on the ground, followed by a few low-pitched wailings, and then completely disappeared. Ow! 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 Then there were wolves howling one after another. One figure after another pounced forward without fear of death, and finally the body approached and was blown away by the sudden force. It's no wonder that the protagonist in the novel likes to fight with his fists or hold a weapon after possessing godlike power. It's a really refreshing feeling. Bai Xian shook off the blood on his hand, and the armed arrogance slowly disappeared. In the past, he really didn't understand why the strong men in the novel liked melee combat so much. It was obviously better to use their style of lightly tap your finger and swipe your hand and you will be thunderbolt, but basically it is one punch or one punch with some adjectives added. I thought it was because the author didn't like to describe those magnificent battles. It turned out that it was indeed a close combat. The author is personally substituted. A real man wants to punch to the flesh. Can't help laughing. Bai Xian collected the corpses of the mutated wolf pack on the ground. As for the wolf meat, he really didn't know where it was delicious, so he had better go back and research it before cutting it. End of this chapter. Chapter 47 Conjectures on Realm, Luminous Cooking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the next few days, Bai Xian continued to hone his proficiency in armed domineering through fighting with mutant beasts. Of course, he did not waste the corpses of these mutant beasts. The meat quality is also getting better. For a long time, Bai Xian and Su Yu's tastes have become more and more picky, and they can't eat even ordinary food. Not only is there a gap in taste, but the satisfaction of the body and soul given by the aura is beyond what ordinary food can provide, and Su Yu, because of the constant consumption of the corpses of mutant creatures these days, her strength has increased a lot, and the amount of aura accumulated in her body has also reached a bottleneck. Just today, Suyu, who was exercising and trying to absorb the spiritual energy in her body, suddenly felt something. A puzzled expression appeared on her face, and then she closed her eyes, followed by a sound as if something was broken. A large amount of spiritual energy in the air rushed towards Suyu like a tide, continuously entering her body. However, it didn't last long. In just half a minute, the riot of spirit energy stopped abruptly, and then returned to calm. Is this a breakthrough? Suyu opened her eyes and said with some doubts. Probably. At some point, Bai Xian's figure appeared in front of her, looking at her with great interest. Obviously I don't even have a practice method, but my body has a bottleneck. After reaching a certain amount of spiritual energy in my body, I can still break through. The process of breakthrough will cause a riot of heaven and earth spiritual energy. Continuously entering the body means that my own strength has entered another level. Interesting. Have you never broken through before? Regarding Bai Xian's question, Suyu shook her head ignorantly. No. I had no idea there was such a thing as a breakthrough. Is it the first time? Bai Xian nodded, ready to ask Huiyu about it. Suyu was limited by her aptitude. If it wasn't for this period of time, she would continue to eat the meat of mutated beasts before she could break through, but with Huiyu's aptitude, they should have experienced a breakthrough long ago or even more than once. As for him, he has long since ceased to regard himself as a normal person. It is estimated that before becoming a god, he is unlikely to have a bottleneck. Breakthrough? Is there anything else like this? I don't know this kind of stuff. Huiyu was stunned. Could she still break through without even cultivating exercises? It seems that you haven't experienced it either. Is it because of qualifications? Bai Xian touched his chin thoughtfully, then analyzed and said. People with high talents may have just awakened to a certain level, just like you have good strength just after awakening your abilities, and the creatures you summon at will can crush those ordinary talents. Although Suyu's talent is good, it's still far behind your level. This period of time is also due to the constant consumption of mutated creature meat. If it is someone with the same qualifications as her, there should be a period of time. Is there no information from the official side? There should be. After all, there are so many people. Huiyu also said with some uncertainty. I've been busy with training and the work of the Reiki Bureau during this period of time. I'll check back to see if there is any corresponding information. By the way, the meat of those mutated creatures can really increase the amount of aura in the body and the speed of cultivation, right? Why didn't you send me some? Speaking of this, Huiyu showed an angry expression on his face. He had clearly promised not to forget his share, but he forgot it when he arrived at the nature reserve. He didn't think of himself at all when he ate with Suyu. Ahem, keep it, keep it. Bai Xian coughed twice, and said in embarrassment, it must be kept, but the number is not so much. After all, it is hard to say something like food intake. Humph. I think you forgot. Forget it, I asked Suyu to exercise in the past, not to enjoy the blessings. Hone her mind, exercise her strength. She is not suitable to eat so much meat of mutant beasts now. Skills and combat experience are more important than her cultivation. How about this? The amount of mutated creature meat in her share will be halved. Keep it for me. Are you serious? Aren't you afraid that Suyu will come over and beat you with a hammer? Is that stuff delicious? Huiyu asked curiously. You don't even know the taste, and you want to grab Suyu's share. Bai Xian rolled his eyes, not knowing what to complain about for a while. It tastes great. Have you seen the Chinese xiadangjia? The taste is similar to that in there. The glowing cooking one. Huiyu's eyes lit up. It must be a heavenly delicacy. Just cut off all Suyu's mutated meat. It's not good to eat too much meat every day. It's perfect to have more meat and vegetables. Let her eat more vegetables. Without hesitation, Huiyu exercised her rights as a superior. I don't care. If you can convince her, you can talk to her. Bai Xian shrugged. This has nothing to do with him. Let Suyu argue with Huiyu by herself then. now the recovery of spiritual energy has just begun, and there is no clear level defined for supernatural powers in cultivation countries, but at this time in the military region, there are already some talented people who have made breakthroughs under their training, but Huiyu, Qin Tian, Yifeng, Chen Changsheng and other geniuses of this level have not yet touched the bottleneck of breakthroughs. But the strength they showed still far surpassed those few fighters who broke through before. In this regard, Bai Xian's guess was approved by them. After the awakening of the power, Huiyu and the others crossed more than one level to a level that normal people with supernatural powers cannot touch. The specific level will not be determined until someone is promoted to it in the future, but there is no doubt that when people with supernatural abilities have the same strength as the current Huiyu, Qin Tian and others, Huiyu and the others will also be promoted to a new level. After all, they are geniuses, of the very best kind. In the whole of China, apart from Bai Xian, there is no one who is more talented than them. As for Bai Xian, after confirming Huiyu's thoughts on Bai Xian, no one regarded him as a human being anymore. Of course, the era of spiritual energy recovery is bound to be accompanied by the rise of various extraordinary systems. There will be all kinds of talents using aura as energy to create various cultivation systems, and even various combat techniques. In martial arts novels, it is not impossible for martial arts cheats, the art of duanjia, exercises to enhance physical fitness, and cheats on cultivation. In this era, as long as you have enough talent and ideas, nothing is impossible. The only thing that can stop you is lack of knowledge. End of this chapter. Chapter 48, Natural Authority, Ability Improvement, Additional New Ability. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the eyes of many scientific researchers, aura is a very special energy. This kind of energy that does not exist on the Earth should cause changes in many scientific formulas after its appearance, but in fact it does not. On the contrary, because of the emergence of aura, those formulas seem to have many extension directions. The direction of scientific research that had been slow to progress suddenly became clear again. This point is different from the high martial arts world where Su Yunqing lives. In these few days, Bai Xian and Suyu also got to know the mutated creatures in the nature reserve almost. After sorting out and sending the data, Bai Xian and Suyu were ready to leave. Suyu went back earlier. She was different from Bai Xian. Although Bai Xian joined the Spiritual Qi Bureau in name, he allocated most of the time by himself. Suyu is more like working, except for the special training time. There will also be some tasks to complete. On the contrary, the time in the nature reserve was the most relaxed for her. After you go back, take a good bath and relax, and hand over the ingredients to the special chef for cooking. Although Suyu's cooking ability is not bad, there must be a lot of gap between her and a professional. After returning home, it was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was just about to take a shower, eat something to relax, and suddenly heard the ringtone of my mobile phone. What happened? Bai Xian asked suspiciously. Something happened. A mutated male lion from the Hangzhou Zoo ran out. There was a hint of coldness in Huiyu's voice, as if he was extremely angry at this kind of thing. Is the zoo still closed? He thought that the zoo had already been closed on the second day of the global awakening ability. After all, people will awaken, and those animals will also awaken, so there is no reason to keep it open. I haven't seen anything about the zoo on the news, but it's still open. In other words, will anyone really watch it under such circumstances? Bai Xian couldn't complain. It must be closed, but it didn't deal with it in a centralized manner. Instead, the zoo was transformed, and then there were special people in charge of observing whether these animals mutated. Although some things have changed, the character has not become fierce, nor has it hurt anyone. Of course someone will relax. No, one was bitten to death during the feeding process and ran out. Huiyu also sighed. I really don't know how to evaluate this kind of thing. No matter how kind those animals were to you before, since you have mutated, you can't let go of your nervousness, otherwise you might really be killed. Kill. It's not just these mutated beasts, livestock and pets in Hangcheng and even all over the country have injured people. Because the number of mutated animals is very small, they didn't become much stronger after mutated, and they still didn't get rid of the food restriction. Because of the mutated reason, the price became more expensive. but pets, whether it's a cat or a dog, as long as they are not well raised, they can't treat you as the master, and they all have the potential to hurt people. Although they have awakened supernatural powers, they are not strong in melee combat. Dogs are not bad. Cats have really sharp claws. Some people were scratched on their stomachs and sent to the hospital. I heard that they went straight through. But if those mutated cats and dogs really regard each other as their masters, they will still be very obedient. It's like police dogs. Many of them have mutated, but so far no one has been found to hurt people. The same is true for guide dogs, and their intelligence has improved a lot, and many orders have become easier to issue. Anyway, there are good and bad. Bai Xian nodded. This is not bad, it has the smell of an elf. In this way, his own Laululus can also be pulled out for a walk after it arrives. As for what kind of biological mutation is up to you. Send me the location, and I'll solve it. I took care of the corpse myself. Arrow. Roar. Amidst the terrifying beast roars, the entire mountain forest began to resound. Birds, beasts, fish and insects fled one after another. This mutated male lion is a bit fierce, I feel. Didn't the animal nature be worn away when I was in the zoo before? Or did the lost animal nature return automatically after the mutation? That Bai Xian, who was floating in the air, casually found a treetop and stood on it, looking at it unhurriedly. At the same time, he also understood why the mutated beast ran out, and why you could chat with him so many things in a leisurely manner, so it turned out that he ran directly to the wild. The momentum is not bad, but it is much worse than the red giant tiger I met in the nature reserve before. And there is no mark like a fire lotus on his forehead. Speaking of which, apart from the red tiger I encountered at the beginning, none of the other mutated beasts have similar marks. Is there anything special about it? Thinking about it carefully, the wisdom of the giant red tiger is quite high. After so many battles, only it dared not to resist after gathering a layer of defense. Although he died in the end, this kind of arrogance is still worth noting. Ordinary mutant beasts don't have such wisdom, probably it is a matter of aptitude. Bai Xian could feel the strong power of fire contained in the fire lotus mark, but the red tiger did not show it. If given enough time, it might be able to grow to a certain intensity. Roar. Suddenly, the mutated male lion seemed to feel something, and the muscles of the animal's body tensed up. Its instinct reminded itself that it was being targeted by some dangerous creature. All the hairs on the beast's body stood up, and the hideous eyes of the beast suddenly lifted up, staring at Bai Xian's direction. You found me. Bai Xian was not surprised either. After all, lions also have a strong sense of smell, so it is not surprising to be able to smell him. Moreover, the body can instinctively sense danger, which is much stronger than that red tiger. Unfortunately, it's of no use. Boom. Roar. A mysterious force acted on the body of the mutated male lion, controlling its body so that it could not move. Then this force soaked into its body, and with a scream, the mutated male lion fell heavily to the ground. Psychic power is indeed interesting. Jumping down from the tree, Bai Xian looked at the corpse of the mutated lion on the ground and said with a chuckle, the so-called telekinesis is the ability to interfere with the movement of the material system through thoughts. To be honest, he doesn't know whether it is telekinesis or telekinesis. After all, telekinesis can do everything that telekinesis can do, but what can be done by mind power cannot. As for where this power came from, he just cultivated it naturally. One day he woke up and looked at the objects around him and felt as if he could control them, and then he did it. It is estimated that it is the ability brought about by the improvement of natural authority, compared with other abilities related to natural authority, that he discovered these days. Telekinetic power is not that important. End of this chapter. Chapter 49. The Power of Extreme Cold. Chen Bing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Deprivation. Bai Xian put his hand on the body of the mutated male lion. A mysterious force circulated on its body, and finally the whole corpse was shriveled like a piece of animal skin. All the energy gathered in Bai Xian's hand, condensed into a blood-colored bead. Inside the bead, a rune of a mutated lion can be vaguely seen. This bead contains the energy of the entire mutated male lion. After absorbing it, it is equivalent to eating the entire male lion's corpse and digesting it perfectly. If it is absorbed by someone who has awakened the male lion's ability, it may be able to develop new ability. This is Bai Xian's new ability, which can deprive mutant creatures of their power. As for why the shape of the beads is purely because he thinks the beads are more suitable, he can also condense into a cube if he wants, as for when this ability was awakened. Perhaps it is more appropriate to explain it as the ability he had long ago, but he didn't know that he had this ability in the past. Natural authority will not tell him the abilities that Bai Xian possesses one by one, he needs to try to discover them one by one. The ability to deprive him was realized after he said that if he could gather their power into something easy to carry after the space ring in the nature reserve was full, he succeeded after trying it, he just felt as if he could do it, tried it and succeeded. You asked him why, and he couldn't explain it. Everything seems to be instinctive. How do you say that? As long as he has enough brains, he can develop countless powerful methods. Shaking his head, he put away the blood in his hand, and looked not far away. After watching for so long, you should come out. I just wanted to see how you would deal with that mutated lion. I didn't expect you to have telekinetic power. Is telekinetic power a part of nature? Or your mental power is too strong? After all, telekinetic power is a manifestation of strong mental power. A tall woman with graceful figure and blue hair appeared in front of Bai Xian, wearing a navy costume. If it wasn't for the fact that the anime Zhan Qihong doesn't exist in this world, he would definitely think that the other party is imitating us. Not only has a similar temperament, but also has the ability of ice. Her ice is not the weak ice of Suyu, but the real power of extreme cold, a genius with terrifying power at the beginning of awakening, and the same level as Huiyu. I don't remember Huiyu saying that you will appear here, Chen Bing. Bai Xian looked at the other party indifferently, and said calmly. Of course she didn't know I was going to be here because I didn't tell her. Chen Bing crossed his arms and said in a leisurely tone. I just came here when I heard that it was you who received the mission. After all, I am very curious about your strength. The child of nature possesses an almost conceptual power over nature. When awakened, he is above all others, an unrivaled monster. It's not just me, Qin Tian, Chen Changxing, and Yi Feng have also been interested in you for a long time. If Huiyu hadn't repeatedly emphasized that our strength is not in the same dimension as yours, and she was crushed by you and didn't even have the ability to make a move, I am afraid that many people have come to challenge you. If it's okay, I'll go first. Bai Xian interrupted Chen Bing, who wanted to continue talking, and he was not interested in chatting with Chen Bing after completing the task. Do you want to compete? Chen Bing was taken aback when he heard Bai Xian's words, then smiled, and said straightforwardly. I want to see the gap with you. Let's wait until you are qualified to use the ability in front of me. Bai Xian said lightly, and then walked past Chen Bing. Chen Bing frowned slightly, not quite understanding what Bai Xian meant. Then, as if thinking of something, he tried to use the ability, but although he could sense the existence of the ability, he couldn't use it anyway. It was as if something was blocking her and the ability. The knowing figure left completely, and she reconnected with the ability. Can you even control supernatural abilities? There are really people in this world who can awaken such unreasonable abilities. There are also blood beads condensed from the energy deprived of the mutant lion before. Huiyu's evaluation of him is indeed not exaggerated. But even so, it is impossible for her to just give up chasing. Bai Xian's starting point is 10 times, 100 times higher than theirs, but the stronger the strength, the more stable the bottleneck, and the gap between them and Bai Xian will become smaller and smaller. Reiki revival is a global evolution. They don't keep one person at the forefront. Chen Bing's strength is very strong, and Bai Xian knows this very well. Maybe it's not as good as a Kiji, which can freeze the sea in one piece, but if it's just the mountain forest where Bai Xian is, Chen Bing can freeze it with all his strength, and her strength is constantly increasing. Perhaps in the near future, her development of the power of extreme cold will be able to reach the strength of a Kiji, but even so, Bai Xian didn't have the desire to fight her. In other words, he has no desire to fight against any creature, especially for humans. The significance of the sparring is that there seems to be a difference in strength between the two. Even if there is some gap, it is not too big. Bai Xian has already surpassed everyone by too much, and even many people will not be able to reach his current strength in their entire lives. Such a battle is meaningless, especially here is the earth. He has all kinds of growth, and the whole nature is helping him. Unless it is someone who also has authority, there is really no desire to fight. His opponent is not here, but another world, Hokage, pirates, Tiga, even the company of heroes, Dragon Ball, and those more powerful terrifying worlds such as Shrouding the Sky, Perfection, and Primordial Desolation. Of course he doesn't have such strength now, and there is no corresponding person to join the chat group, but the future is always full of variables. Maybe one day, someone will join it. He is looking forward to the arrival of the new era. Before that, what he needs is to keep practicing so that he can hold more energy and become stronger faster. For others, cultivation is boring and tedious, but for Bai Xian, it is just a little tired after exercising, and the process is not boring and has nothing to do with being boring. After all, although his body is exercising, his consciousness is in the chat group, Dongfang Invincible, so, we have a chance to draw a lottery. Ordinary Group Owner, Newcomer Benefits. The chat group is free, but luck is not particularly good and you can't get any good things. The next lottery will cost, points. If you listen to me, accumulate points, and wait for the next person. There are too many, and there will be more draws in the lottery pool later. End of this chapter. Chapter 50 The Bitten Devil Fruit. Is this bad luck? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ordinary Group Owner, or after a new function is opened in the chat group, you use the points in other places. The richest man in the lighthouse. I understand the truth, but why are you telling us now? We have joined the group for 2 weeks. Dongfang Invincible. My time here is half a month. Glory of the Northern God. Wow woof. Glory of the gods of the North. Why am I a month? The richest man in the lighthouse. Sure enough, the flow of time is different in different worlds, but you are a real scumbag. Dongfang itself joined the group before us, and you have a longer time than her. The richest man in the lighthouse. Forget it, your Shiba Inu has been sleeping for such a long time, it's okay to sleep more. The richest man in the lighthouse. The most important thing now is the group owner of that. Why did you tell me about the lottery draw now? I thought this group could only chat and give out red envelopes. Ordinary Group Owner. Hey, I forgot. Cute.jpg. The richest man in the lighthouse. The richest man in the lighthouse. Then at all members, the group owner forgot, and no one reminded you. Worst elf, forget. Boil Dagu into soup. The brain is unwilling to remember. Uchiha Dance King. That function has no effect other than disturbing people's mentality. Be my son, yes. That's it, meow. What I got was something useless, meow. Gold Flash. I got a good draw, but I really forgot. Son of Nature. I thought someone told you about it when I was away, but you didn't mention the bad things you got. Dongfang Invincible. Lucky draw. Is it true that you can't draw any good things? The richest man in the lighthouse. I'm a little curious about what you have drawn. The richest man in the lighthouse. Can you tell me in detail? Ordinary Group Leader. No. Worst elf. Reject. Uchiha Dance King. Do you want to dance too? Be my son. Do you want to experience the feeling of being hit by a shocking fruit? Boil Dagu into soup. Do you think Dijia's light will burn people to death? The direct threat of the last 3 heavyweights caused Tony to temporarily stop his exploration while his curiosity soared. These days, he has gone through every memory copy. Then, what the hell is this world? All of them are so unreasonable. In the world of Naruto, Uchiha Madara can kill. But what is summoning meteorites? How can the dead be resurrected? And those devil fruits in Pirate World, what the hell? He wanted to trade wealth with the group leader before, because he believed that gold would not be a cheap thing in any world, and its composition determined its value. But golden fruit, although gold cannot be created out of thin air, objects can be transformed into gold. What kind of principle is this? There are also man-made devil fruits. Can things like devil fruits be artificial? Do you want to be so fierce? In the world of Pokemon, those elves who can understand human language and have powerful abilities, this is okay. Tony feels that he can accept it, and even wants to buy one. The most unacceptable thing is the Ultraman in Dagu's world, although it can only transform for 3 minutes, but that power can completely destroy a city, right? A small amount of destruction of a country many times is enough. Oh, that dog's world he just got rid of. He didn't watch funny anime, The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. It seems that what you have drawn is really not good, and it even makes you feel ashamed. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. I can also understand, judging by how bad you are in the memory copy, you are not lucky. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. Let me, Tony Stark, show you what luck is. After these words fell, Tony's voice was not seen for a long time. Glory of the God of the North. Wow. Dongfang Booby, where are people? Ordinary group leader, if you can't smoke, you can take it out. Boil Dagu into soup, I hope it's a sow. Uchiha Dance King. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. Ahem, I think there is something wrong with this lottery. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. How about next time? The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. The things drawn are not bad, and even have a little value, but it seems a little bit. Ordinary group owner. Something. Ordinary group leader. Is it something unspeakable? Ordinary group owner. Expectation. JPG. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. Picture. JPG. Super Soldier Serum. Failure. Introduction. The super soldier serum that failed to develop, while losing the effect of strengthening the body, it perfectly retains the severe pain on the body. Remarks. Although you can't have strong strength if you keep going, your willpower is indeed extraordinary. Ordinary group leader. What kind of rubbish is this? Shabi will drink it. Ordinary group leader. Only the pain is preserved but there is no medicinal effect. Ordinary group leader. It's the same as the devil fruit that only retains the taste and doesn't give you any abilities. Child of nature. Perfect description. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. I don't know which force researched it. Could it be produced by Hydra? The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. Who would eat this kind of thing? The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. You pick one and let me see. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. I need a comfort. Glory of the God of the North. You beg me. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. I beg you. Ordinary group leader. Wow, I really didn't hesitate at all. Ordinary group leader. You really don't even want your face for comfort. Ordinary group leader. If Thor really got something good, you, pretend I didn't say it. While Su Yunqing was speaking, Thor sent out what he had drawn, and Su Yunqing silently retracted his speech. No if, the glory of the northern god, devil fruit that has been bitten. JPG. Child of nature. To some extent, this is a devil fruit that retains the taste of a devil fruit but without the slightest ability. Son of nature, are you crow's mouth? Group leader. The Richest Man in the Lighthouse. Thanks to the group leader, your crow's mouth made me feel a kind of joy. Ordinary group leader. What the hell? The glory of the northern gods. Shiba intoxicated. JPG. The glory of the northern gods. Shiba Inu excited. JPG. Glory of the northern god. This food is delicious. Although it's a little weird, it's not a single aroma, but it's really delicious. Be my son. Be my son. Do you really think devil fruit is delicious? Be my son. Although the description of a devil fruit is like shit, it doesn't mean it tastes like shit, it's just a description of bad taste. Even a dog shouldn't think it's delicious, right? End of this chapter.